If you're deciding between a Blackstone-style griddle and a traditional grill, don't frame it as a winner-takes-all debate. You're really choosing what kind of cooking you enjoy doing and what kind of food you want to cook most often. One is a big, flat sheet of hot steel that behaves like a giant pan. The other is an open grate cooker that's built around flame, airflow, and that unmistakable grilled finish. If you know the differences that actually matter, the decision gets strangely easy. Cooking surface and heat. Contact versus open flame. A grill uses grates, and those grates do two things at once. First, they hold the food above the heat so hot air and radiant heat can work around it. Second, they create a few narrow contact points where you get those dark grill marks. Everything else is heat moving around the food. A Blackstone-style griddle flips that logic. Your food sits on a flat steel plate, so contact is constant, not occasional. That's why griddle cooking feels more like running a large skillet than grilling. The heat transfer is more direct, and browning tends to be broad and even, not striped. The surface itself becomes the main cooking element, which changes how you plan your cook. On a grill, you think in zones and lid on versus lid off. On a griddle, you think in surface real estate, hot spots, and how you're going to move food like a short-order cook. Here's what matters. If you love the idea of turning cooking into a rhythm of flipping, chopping, scraping, and sliding food around, the griddle suits that style. If you love managing fire and using the lid like an oven, the grill fits you better. Flavor and texture, what grilled really means. A grill's signature is not just the marks. It's the combination of flame-driven heat, smoke, and the way fat drips down and vaporizes near the burners or coals. That interaction is part of why grilled food has that distinct edge. You can get a great crust in a pan, but it doesn't taste exactly like a grill because the environment is different. On a griddle, the flavor leans toward diner-style browning. You get excellent Maillard reaction because you have full contact and often a thin film of oil that helps heat transfer. Smash burgers are the perfect example. The whole point is maximum contact and aggressive browning. A grill can cook burgers beautifully, but it can't replicate that pressed edge-to-edge crust in the same way because you're not smashing onto a continuous hot surface. So the question isn't which tastes better, it's which taste are you chasing? Do you want flame-kissed char and grilled aroma, or do you want deep, even browning and that crisp pan-seared finish? What each one cooks best, the menu tells the truth. If you want the simplest mental shortcut, use this. Grills love structure. Griddles love chaos. A grill loves foods that behave nicely on grates. Thick steaks, chicken pieces, fish that won't crumble, sausages, whole vegetables, skewers, anything you can lift and flip cleanly. It's also excellent when you want to cook with the lid down, letting heat circulate like an oven. That's how you get reliable results on larger cuts without scorching the outside. A griddle loves foods that would be annoying on a grill. Anything small, chopped, or delicate becomes easy. Fried rice, chopped vegetables, shrimp, thin-sliced meats, eggs, bacon, pancakes, quesadillas, grilled cheese, and all the little things that normally demand a pan. If you've ever tried cooking onions and peppers on grill grates and watched half of them attempt to escape, you already understand why griddles win this category. And then there are foods where either tool works, but the result is different. A steak on a grill can be more aromatic and smoky. A steak on a griddle can develop a more uniform crust, especially if you baste with butter and aromatics like you would indoors. Neither is wrong, they're just different vibes. Capacity and workflow, how you feed people. This is where a Blackstone-style griddle often surprises people. It's not just can it cook, it's can it cook a whole meal at once. A wide flat top lets you run multiple items side by side. You can toast buns on one corner, cook patties in the center, and keep onions working on the side without juggling pans. On a grill, you also have space, but it's a different kind of space. You can stack food, use an upper rack, close the lid, and turn the whole chamber into a cooking environment. That's great for batches of chicken, wings, kebabs, or anything you want cooked evenly without constant stirring. A grill is more set and manage. A griddle is more active and hands-on. So ask yourself a practical question. When you cook for friends or family, do you like standing there and working the food continuously? Or do you like setting it up, closing the lid, and checking in at key moments? Grease, flare-ups, and mess. What cleanup really looks like. Grills have a relationship with dripping fat. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it punishes you. If you cook fatty foods on a grill, you may get flare-ups. That's not a deal breaker, it's just part of the skill. You learn where the hot spots are, when to move food, and when to back off. But it does mean your attention matters. Grill cooking can go from perfect to overdone, fast if you walk away at the wrong moment. Griddles usually avoid flare-ups because the grease stays on the surface and gets directed to a grease trap or collection point depending on the design. That makes the cooking experience calmer, but it also means you're managing a lot of hot grease and residue on a big steel plate. Cleanup on a griddle tends to be immediate. Scrape while warm, wipe, oil lightly, and keep the surface seasoned. Cleanup on a grill is often more periodic. Brush grates, occasionally deep clean the inside, deal with drip pans or ash depending on the type. Pick the inconvenience you prefer. Do you want occasional deeper cleaning or frequent quick maintenance? Temperature control, precision versus range. Most gas grills give you clear control through burner knobs, and charcoal grills give you control through airflow and fuel management. Either way, you're managing a system that's designed to create an environment. Heat below, air around, lid on top. A griddle gives you a different kind of control. You're managing the surface itself. You can create a hot zone for searing and a cooler zone for holding food just by adjusting burners and moving items around. It's not precision like a countertop induction cooktop, but it's predictable once you learn your machine. Where grills often win is high heat, open flame intensity, and the ability to cook thicker cuts with lid-down convection. Where griddles win is consistency across a cooking surface and the ability to do small moves constantly without losing heat. Versatility. What accessories change the game? Both setups can be expanded, but in different ways. Grills can become surprisingly versatile with accessories. Add a griddle plate to a grill and you can do some flat top style cooking, though usually on a smaller area. Add a pizza stone and you can bake at high heat. Add a smoker box or use charcoal and wood and you can chase deeper smoke flavors. Griddles can also be expanded with accessories, but they're usually about workflow. Domes help melt cheese and steam food. Wind guards help maintain heat efficiency. Burger presses, spatulas, and scraping tools become part of the routine. It's less about turning the griddle into an oven and more about turning the surface into a well-organized cooking station. If you love gadgets that change cooking methods, grills often offer more modes. If you love tools that make you faster and cleaner, griddles tend to feel more satisfying. Learning curve. Which one feels natural faster? Most people get comfortable on a griddle quickly because it maps to indoor cooking habits. If you can cook on a frying pan, you can cook on a griddle. You'll still need practice to manage heat zones and keep food moving, but the logic is familiar. Grilling can be simple, but it rewards technique earlier. Managing flare-ups, learning how long to sear, when to move to indirect heat, how to use the lid, and how to avoid drying out lean meats takes a bit more feel. That's also why grilling is so addictive. You're not just cooking food, you're working with fire. Common buying regrets and how to avoid them. A common grill regret is buying a grill and then realizing you mostly wanted to cook breakfast, smash burgers, and stir-fry style meals outdoors. You can do some of that on a grill, but it's awkward without a flat surface. A common griddle regret is buying a griddle and then missing that true grilled aroma and char, especially for steaks, kebabs, and classic barbecue-style cooks. You can get browning on a griddle, but you won't always get that same open flame identity. The easiest way to avoid regret is to look at your last 10 outdoor meals, not your fantasy meals, your actual meals. The pattern will tell you what tool you'll use most. Bottom line, the decision in plain language. Choose a traditional grill if you want that grilled character, if you like lid-down cooking, and if your meals lean toward thicker cuts, skewers, and foods that benefit from flame and airflow. Choose a Blackstone-style griddle if you want to cook a wider variety of pan foods outdoors, if you love the idea of cooking a whole spread at once, and if your favorite results come from full-contact browning rather than grill marks. If you can only buy one, buy the one that matches your most frequent menu. If you can eventually own both, they're not redundant. They're complementary because they solve different problems in a way the other one can't fully imitate. If you tell me what you cook most often and how many people you usually feed, I'll tailor the script to your exact use case and help you land on a confident recommendation.